to address that problem, I started teaching Aikido from an ukemi standpoint. And this is a furtherance of our understanding of what's happening in an attack. So we touched a little bit on this in the morning session in me describing, for instance, Ikkyo Omote being, from the attack perspective, what's really happening there. From my perspective, attacks have components to them which identify them in a certain framework. For instance, each attack has to send energy from my center into my partner center or my target center. If I don't do that, it's an ineffective attack. What I mean like that, if I attack your arm, you're going to kill me with the other arm. I've got to attack your central core, not your arm. Now, your arm may be dismantled in my attack, but really what I need to do is address your central core. Okay, so if I'm focused anywhere else but your central core, my attack is going to be less effective. So real attacks affect the central core. This is also an automatic thing. Anybody who's attacking is attacking the central core because that's the idea of the attack. I'm going to connect to that person in a way that destroys or controls their center. So with that in mind, if we start looking at what happens to uke, how this attack turns into these things that we see with our partner happening without us forcing them to do it, we'll see how that all works. So all these attacks have a couple of components, and the first one is whether the musculature is elongating or whether it's compressing. Okay, and I use the words compression. It could be contracting, muscular contraction. I use compress. Okay, elongation and compression. Elongation is usually a strike, a throw, a punch, a knife, a spear, out that way. The grabs are the compression, right? But may I have you, Corey? If I just grab your arm, right? And I grab your arm, go ahead and move around. I don't have him. You know, I got his arm, but I don't have his center. So for this to be an effective attack, I have to send my energy through his center and back into mine. A grab is actually sending energy into his center and compressing it back into mine. So now move around. It's a little more difficult, right? Yeah. And you can feel that I'm engaged in what you're doing, yes. Not just here with your arm watching you move around. Yes. Okay? So compression of musculature, elongation of musculature shows where the energy's going to. So the elongation, boom, into his center, into the ground. It's trying to go directly through his center to the ground. That's why if I'm totally 100% committed to this and he just gets out of the way, he just gets out of the way, I'm going to fall down. My energy continues pulling me to the floor because it's still connected to me. Understand? But if I grab him, the energy is not going to the floor through him, now it's going through me. So let's say that I just grab and I latch onto him, now move around. Well, I've still got his arm, but I'm not controlling his center, am I? Because now I'm sending everything into there and I'm along for the ride. But if I want to control him, I'm going to anchor it through my own connection to the central core of the earth. So now, you might be able to move around and move me, but you're going to be moving my anchor also. You see what I mean? Yes. So in terms of the attack, generally speaking, and again, these things are on a continuum, not on a this or the yes or no, is elongation or compression. The next component of the attack is which way the appendage turns. Okay? In other words, if my hand starts palm down and turns outward, I get the stretches I call the Ikkyo family. It would be Ikkyo, it would be Nikyo, it would be Sankyo. You see what I mean? It would be anything that takes me over, anything that turns my hand over this way, right? The Kodagaishi family, I call the Kodagaishi family, is anything that starts palm up and turns outward. Shihonage, Kodagaishi, Yokomanuchi. So Yokomanuchi sends your hand out this way, right? When you think about sword work, everything is in here, right? Yokomanuchi, we start to turn this way. And as soon as we do this, we want to keep our hands like this, right? But when we go through our target, our hands are now in a good position to do this in a very natural way. This is what I think O-sensei recognized. That look, if he doesn't get, if I'm over here when this happens, he's got to do something, either this to cut or this. And look what happens to my hands. Kodagaishi family, Ikkyo family. Kodagaishi family, Ikkyo family. So in the strike, I'm really creating a stretch, especially if I don't hit my target. If I hit my target, whoosh, cut right through and you're dead. If it goes through without resistance, I'm here. See what I mean? Resistance is what makes an attack effective. Makes sense, right? If I've got a person hit this, whoosh, I get resistance. That stabilizes me through the cut. But imagine that my partner, my target, becomes ethereal when at the moment of impact. I have all this energy going into cutting through that thing. Because if I don't, if my energy is there, it's not going to cut through, right? It's got to be intentionally cutting through. So if it's suddenly I'm putting all of the intention I need to cut through that into the strike, and the thing turns into no resistance, whoosh, that kind of thing is going to happen, right? So I have to be delivering enough energy to impact my target, and in doing so, if my target becomes non-resistant, I go right past it, I go right through it, I don't have the resistance I need to keep me stable. Does that make sense? Okay, so Kodagaishi family, Ikkyo family. Elongation, compression. All of these things together, these two components are present in every attack, okay? In any Aikido situation. So anybody have you want to have a technique that you can show me? Just come up with something. You ask for whatever ukemi you want from me.
How about Kodagaishi?
Okay, from a katatori?
Sure.
Okay. So there it is, okay? There's this stretch over here. Okay, anything else? What else?
Ikkyo.
From a strike?
Yes.
Shomanuchi? There it is, okay? There's a turning over here, right? So we talked about how O-sensei did this without any kind of force, which meant that Uke is doing this naturally. Okay, so why does he do it? Do we really attack and go like this? Or attack and go like this? I don't think so, right? So what's happening? When you have your strike and your energy is flying out here, right? You're going to strike and this happens. Okay, now, if I push through here, this is going to stabilize him, right? Okay? And he won't follow through on the stretch. But if I'm there supporting him, see how his stretch now is full-bodied and full intention. So I'm going to do that same thing, right? But I'm going to follow through on my attack. And let's see how it turns into demonstrating these components. So first, is it elongated or is it compression of musculature? Elongation, right? So here it's elongating. Now right here, I start to keep my cut going. You see what I mean? If I miss him on the first shot, my connection's to his center. That's the cut that kills him. Didn't kill him on the first one, but my intention did not falter. I didn't go like this. Uh-oh, now what? No, I mean to cut his center, and if he moves away, my intention keeps this like a magnetic force to his center line. Okay? So this time just move out of the way. Well, here's what I want you to do. I want you to connect. Now, another good thing about this, one time my teacher, Don O'Bell, the Key Society guy who got his black belt from Tohei, he was trying some stuff out, and one of the things was come Shomanuchi, and he'd move like this. He'd duck and get under the way. And so I knew he wanted me to give him a full attack. So when he did that, boom, sorry. I just tracked with it. I knew what my target was. I didn't have to think, oh, he's moving, I gotta chase him. I'm attacking that thing. It's like you're playing tennis. When the ball comes flying at you, you don't go, okay, well, wait a minute now, I gotta figure, you move to the right place so that your full swing connects with the right part of it. And you do that automatically once you learn how to manage a racket, right? So if I know I'm gonna hit him on the top of the head and he starts moving out of the way, I'm tracking with him. This is something we don't see in Aikido usually. Usually I'm going like this and he moves out of the way and I'm there. I'm like, uh-oh, I just missed the ghost that was there before. But in real life, I'm tracking with you. I'm going right for your central core. So we want to connect with this too. So in terms of the attack, there's the elongation, and there is the, here, try going to this side now. And there's the Kodagaishi when it turns over to this side. That makes sense to everybody?
Yes.
Follow me? Same thing with grabs. So I grab here. I can start in a kind of neutral place, but you'll be able to feel now. Would you think I'm doing a Kodagaishi family stretch or an Ikkyo family stretch?
Ikkyo.
Yeah, and which is it going to be easier to do?
The Ikkyo.
Yeah, so what would you do? Now you're gonna come to me now. That's Kodagaishi. That's okay, right? It depends, right? We can go either way with it depending on the energy of the people. How often has your sensei said, here, we're going to do this technique, and it goes like this. Oh, but wait a minute. Now turn your hand over like that. That's a technique. Ah, that technique. But when somebody grips like this, and then suddenly you can't do it. Ever experienced that? That's because this is less effective. He's really going this way. You see what I mean? That's the way he's really stretching. He's really doing that himself. I try to force him this way. His body says, my body doesn't turn that way like this. And then I have to kind of, then I was instructed when I was first learning, if someone resists you like this, hold it, and so I can't do that, is that what you do is you leverage it. You find a way to move yourself in there so that you don't take no for an answer. But then you know what that feels like. And that feels awful when it's done to you. It feels awful when I do it to you. I don't like it. So what we want to do is we want to kind of have, it happens as a result of our interaction. His energy flow, whatever it is like I was at a Nado seminar. So now with that in mind, let's everybody try this one. So everybody's join me now. We're going to come out with, we're going to try Ikkyo Omote. Ikkyo first teaching. Ikkyo Omote is the first technique I ever learned. So please come forward, make sure you have some room in front of you and behind you. Because in Ikkyo Omote, you end up going back behind you. So everybody wants to come forward. The more forward, the better. All right, so everybody kind of watch me for an example now. I like to start in a neutral position with my Aikido, because when you start here, that triggers something in your partner. So we're having a moment and we feel like, uh-oh, something's getting tense and I do this. That triggers something in you,
yes.
Right? Okay. So you'll find that everything we do, every way we turn off the line, puts us into Hanmi, but I don't want to start in Hanmi. I want to start neutral. Okay, so we're going to start neutral, and an attack is going to kind of start neutral too, probably. It's going to start like this. Now, it may go into Hanmi, right? See, Hanmi, but it's going to start neutral too. So we'll start with this kind of neutral face-to-face kind of idea. Let's take our right hand and put it up here. It's going to be like saying hi. Okay, now let's extend forward, parallel. Now, if you imagine, Corey, can we have this line? The line of the attack is really the line that's between our haras, right? That if you follow the line of his central core down to that line up to me, there's a line there, right? Parallel to the line, crossing the line. See what I mean? Okay, so if you could imagine, you're looking at a reflection of yourself in the mirror, and you put your arm out, you're going to be extending toward your reflection's other shoulder. See what I mean? You'd see in your reflection your hands would be going toward meeting. That would be like them pushing into the shoulder. So if we push forward, everybody can go right here and feel stable still, right? Everybody push 1 more millimeter. Start to feel yourself come up. Start to feel your toes dig in. I want you to become aware of that feeling, and I want you to cultivate that. Okay, I want you to cultivate an awareness of being just off balance, on the cusp of falling over. Okay, if you go like this, you're too far, your foot will take a step, and you'll have to start over. Okay, remember how we talked about ukemi, uke always being off balance? We're going to feel that off balance feeling. And the reason we're going to feel it is because we don't have anybody supporting us. We don't have nage supporting us. Remember the stuff we did against the wall? Okay, so we're going to feel ourselves go off balance. We're going to cultivate an awareness of that so that we can do authentic ukemi all the way through. So in Ikkyo Omote, that means that we get out here and we start to feel ourselves come off balance. At the point that we do, we start to rotate our hand over. Remember we talked about the turning over? So now, think about this. If I get to this point, start to fall over, and I just turn my hand over without extending any further, That doesn't look like Ikkyo Omote, does it? That's a whole different kind of thing. Ikkyo Omote, I have to keep the two components both working at the same time, the elongation and the turning over. And if I keep doing both of those things, I will land on the floor automatically and without a doubt if I continue stretching in both those components. Okay? So let's try that once and see what happens. So we're going to be here together. And what I do with my beginners is I teach them to say the name of the stretch first. And they stand here and they go, Ikkyo Omote. So they start building the neurological pathways from the words to the action. Ikkyo Omote. So we extend out to where we start to come off balance, start to turn our hand over. Keep going over, keep going over. Okay. Okay, good. You didn't go down. Ryan didn't go down. Okay, good. Okay, so looking around the room, I'm going to show you some of the things I saw. I saw this, for instance. Didn't quite look like Ikkyo Omote, right? What did I leave out? I stopped the elongation of the stretch. Right here, I've stopped extending outward, now I'm just turning over. Now, see how the turning over part, let's everybody, I forgot this part. Let's put your hand out here and start turning over like you got a spring-loaded doorknob. And you start turning it over. And now if you let go, it's going to stay closed. So you have to keep turning it over. Now see how your body has to be involved and it turns you over? So that's the second way you go off balance. Each one of these attacks has two ways of going off balance that are combined. So if I leave out the elongation, I'll do like this. I'll be off balance this way, but it won't be kind of the stretch that I'm working on. It's a different stretch, but not the stretch we're working on. And I call these cookie cutters because I want everything to be exactly the same. Okay, no variations within this for the beginners, so they have an easy template to work with. So they come out and they say Ikkyo Omote, and they push out. Now the next thing that might happen is this. So what's happening now? I'm elongating, but I'm not turning over anymore. See, as soon as I start turning over, you see how that leads me to the floor? I can't catch myself anymore because now it's turned into this nice spiral. But otherwise, it hasn't quite turned into a spiral that's going to take me down yet. This would be comparable to me attacking somebody who's just backing up. Like that, right? Okay, but if this stretch is done properly, it should take you to the floor right away, and you shouldn't even feel anything except how that stretch, oh yes! Oh, that feels so good. What a nice stretch, right? So let's try it. Let's get that feeling. Ikkyo Omote. Okay, it's looking better. I wasn't able to keep my eye on everybody, but that I think you're getting the idea, right? It's not so unusual, right? Okay, so we say, well, really, Uke doesn't really attack that way. He doesn't mean to fall down, right? But again, the reason why he isn't is because he doesn't feel himself go off balance. So can you do that stretch for me now? And say the words.
Ikkyo Omote.
Okay. Beautiful. Okay, so we've just gone through an Aikido technique with no one doing anything to each other. So what the beginners learn after they learn that is they learn the part that goes along with it. If he's stretching and he's doing this gymnastic exercise we call a stretch, what I want to do is support him in that by spotting him. So in a gymnastic setting or in a weightlifting setting, what does the idea of spotting mean?
Protection.
Okay. Well, I like to use these terms. It's being involved with what your partner's doing without interfering, right? So if you're bench pressing, can you imagine yourself on the, and I'm going to be spotting you. So it's like, hey, Corey, how you doing? Hey, how are you doing, guys? See, Corey is doing some weightlifting here. And now he's dropped a bar on himself, and he's choking, and I'm still making conversation about what I saw on television last night. Oh, gosh! Right? That's not being involved. I have to be involved. Okay, you ready? Okay, I'm here for you. Okay, now, oh, looks like it's not much weight. Let me put a little extra on there for you. Or let me help you lift it a little bit. Now I'm interfering. I'm not letting him do his thing. I'm in the way. He's trying to get his exercise and I'm making him do it my way. So I'm involved without interfering. Okay, can you stand back up, please? So figure how this looks. I've learned my spot. Okay, but before we do, what is the spot? Okay, remember we talked about the ways of turning off the line? I have just 3 ways. Well, there's 4. But predominantly, I'm adding things to Tenkan to make it, instead of 180, 360 or more. But roughly, it's irimi, and it's shin, and it's Tenkan. Okay? So in the one that goes along with Ikkyo Omote is Tenshin. Okay? Now what that means for me is that I turn about 30 degrees with my center and foot at the same time. And really, I'm talking 30 degrees. I'm only going to get technical a few times in this. But this is very important because most people turn 45. And then my partner's over here and my intention is this way. You see what I mean? My central core is expanding that way. I want it to be close to my partner. I want it to be right there. That's right off the line of the attack. See? I want to be off the line of the attack. So it's a very minimal turn. Minimize the turn. So right here, now these are, I call connectors. Okay, these are going to be representative of my wanting to help. So here he comes, they say, come on, I gotcha. Here comes the relay race baton. Come on, I'm ready. Here comes something else. You're not going to go, oh my gosh, here comes the baton. I got to get ready to run. I'm going to be reaching forward as I run backward, right? It's an extension of energy toward your partner. Wendy Palmer, she said they were looking at all this stuff with Indo Sensei, and they were looking at Tohei's thing about extend ki. And they said, well, actually in Japanese, it means ki is extended. Not extend ki in the active, I'm going to extend ki, but ki is extended. Okay, a little bit of difference in idea there, right? That's what I'm doing here. My ki's extending and my arms are traveling with it. Okay? So as this comes forward, this comes out here like this. Now right here, a second tension happens. Center and foot at the same time. This foot comes back here, very naturally. Let's try and see what that feels like. As with this turn center and foot at the same time and send this energy, feel your left foot want to come back here very naturally. Very natural, right? When I turn this foot again this way, this foot very naturally comes back here. And all of a sudden in Ikkyo Omote, then I would walk forward. So I've now incorporated all of O-sensei's triangle, circle, square. Triangle, circle, and square. Isn't that great? Okay, so we have triangle, circle, square, and now I've completed the spotting mechanism. So my beginners have now learned just a few elemental movements of Aikido, which is to extend their ki as they turn off the line, to keep their ki extended as they turn off the line, and to move forward with the ki extended. So I say there are 3 principles in Aikido. This is my own model. 3 principles: connection, turning off the line, and entering. Those 3 have to be present to get what I call an Aiki resolution, which is another word for throw. Another word for uke going to the ground. So when that happens, what that means is I have to connect with you. Okay, so can you push here? Oh, it didn't work because I have no connection. Okay? So I have to connect with you. Here, push the shoulder. Don't worry about the stretch for now, just push the shoulder. Now if I connect with you, right, I can stay pretty safe because I know exactly where you are. We're moving together, right? But there's no Aiki resolution. We don't see Aikido come out of that, right? For that to happen, those other components have to happen. So as you stretch and I extend my ki, then I have to turn off the line. Okay? So the first turn off the line is here. There. Okay? So already his energy has gone from linear into a circular movement. The second tension right here as you come forward happens right there. See how that corresponds with his stretch? Okay? And then as he continues stretching forward, I move forward in my box step, the square of O-sensei square, and it fits perfectly. So now we have these puzzle pieces that are like a kid's first puzzle. You know the kid's first puzzle? It's 3 pieces, triangle, circle, square. And they fit very loosely together, but you can't mix them up, right? You can't put the circle in the square in the triangle, right? So we're going to do this as if we're beginners. You put your hand up here first. And remember, we're going to start with pairs of stretches. So you have to tell me what you're going to do because I'm lost otherwise. And you would say,
Ikkyo Omote.
oh, okay. So then we're going to consciously, and this is the first part of the connection building exercise, is that you have to first connect your knowledge with your words. So you can't say Ikkyo Omote and then do this because it will be incorrect. Okay, the next thing is you have to be doing this with me because I'm spotting you. So you have to make sure I know what I'm doing. So for instance, you're a beginner and I'm a beginner and I say, Ikkyo Omote. And you're not ready, I can't stretch and you can't spot me. So the next part of the communication is, I'm going to do Ikkyo Omote, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, but you're not going to say yes and I'm not going to say, are you ready? We're going to communicate and you'll know. So we'll say, so you'll put up your hand and say Ikkyo Omote.
Ikkyo Omote.
And see how now we're moving together? Okay? All right. So we start building this thing. Now I want to show you what happens. Move over here once. You're going to do the stretch and you tell me if I'm involved without interfering. Okay, ready? Hand up.
Ikkyo Omote.
Oh, why didn't you do your stretch?
Didn't
Because no one was involved. You didn't have anybody spotting you. Okay, now this is where I come in as instructor and I say, no, do your stretch anyway.
Okay.
Don't worry about me. The stretch is the stretch. The spotting is what we're learning to do about the stretch. So you do your stretch.
Ikkyo Omote.
Good. Okay, did you feel my involvement? No, you're doing the stretch and I'm back here. You don't feel. Okay, one more time.
Ikkyo Omote.
Feel my involvement?
Yes.
Okay, great. So you felt I was involved. Okay, one more time.
Ikkyo Omote.
What did you feel that time?
Interference.
Interference. Okay? So you can say, I don't know, you're pushing me. Oh, okay. So one more time, please.
Ikkyo Omote.
Involvement without interfering, being right here where he needs me, where he feels comfortable. And when you feel your partner do that, you will know when you stretch if your partner's involved with you. And you will feel if he's interfering with you. You see what I'm saying? So all of a sudden, my learning is not about how do I take your hand and twist it in such a way that gets you to do that, and then put my foot here so your face goes down that way, and all that stuff. It isn't about that anymore. Now it's about being here while you do this in a way that you know that I'm involved, that I care. So all of a sudden, our Aikido starts to take on a new meaning. What I'm doing is protecting you now. I'm being involved with you so you can do your thing. Partnered with that is a stretch that is similar but diametrically opposed in some way. So that one is Ikkyo Ura. The stretch for that looks like this. Ikkyo Ura. The only change in the beginning is instead of going parallel with the line, I cross the line. I go to the center of the chest here. Okay, so the way this stretch differs then, it's Ura. I go here. Now as I extend, see the Ikkyo part again, but now it's going this way. You see how that's Ura now? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so can you do that stretch for me, please?
Ikkyo Ura.
No, that's Omote. Yeah.
Ikkyo Ura.
Right, there, turn it over. And now as you extend, come that way with it. Extend out that way. See, he's got to keep the elongation energy going. Understand? Why does this happen? I'll show you via the spot. Ready? Ikkyo Ura.
Ikkyo Ura.
Right. Oh, no wonder he's going this way. I move to the other side. You see? Now, we don't tell the beginners that's why he's doing it. We just say, now you're going to practice this part and this part. So what does he learn this time? Instead of learning tenshin with this, he learns irimi with this. See what I mean? So he's only learning components that can then be interchanged throughout all of Aikido. Follow me? So Ikkyo Ura.
Ikkyo Ura.
So it's here, dropping the elbows, and being right here. It's a turning and a 360-degree turn. So instead of tenkan, it's a 360. So you see what I'm saying? So once we get even one pair, now it gets interesting. Because Uke has a choice now when he comes up there and he says, do you understand the spot?
Yes.
The spots? Okay. Ikkyo Ura. So what you're going to do is you're going to extend and turn irimi and move shoulder to shoulder to me here. Ikkyo Ura. So you're going to extend, turn your left foot 30 degrees with your center. No, turn your center so you're facing this way. In other words, watch. Here, you're going to push here, right? So 30 degrees brings my line right here. See, connected to center, all extending out of center.
Okay.
Right? Now the reason I always also tell them, your arms are going to come out. You're not going to come up, because if I come up, push here, that happens. But one more time, if my energy is extending outward, right? If my ki flows outward, ki is extended, it feels like this. Different, right?
Yes.
Different, because now the energy isn't going like this. And Kono and Sensei, in his Yin and Yang, his long video, he talks about this very thing. It's not going like this anymore, now it's going like this. They're sliding together, right? They're not in opposition, they're in harmony. So as I come forward, you understand that it's this. And I want to put myself right here. So that's why when these come out, they come right to here. Okay? And so the beginners get all this technical stuff because they have to learn how to move. Ikkyo Ura. So you're going to turn your center and foot at the same time while extending your ki. Yes. And now as this comes forward, you're going to move into shoulder to shoulder position. Straight in, right there. Okay? That's a beautiful, easy thing to do. Now you're going to drop your elbows and turn toward me. See how I'm still after him? See how my energy is still elongating toward him? So then the beginners start to see, oh, so that's how it works. That's how it works. But still you have to spot me. I have to spot you. You have to spot me, you see? So then in the process, as they're learning these stretches and spots, and they learn them in pairs, one is Kodagaishi Irimi, which is a compression in the Kodagaishi family. The other one's Kodagaishi Tenkan. Like that. So when they learn all these, then it gets interesting, because as we come up to work with each other, I come up and I'm uke. I'm going to be uke for 4 times. I may start here, I may start here. I may start here, I may start here. And you don't know yet, but you're going to take it all in to your system. And then I'm going to say Ikkyo Omote. I'm going to say Kodagaishi Irimi. So my knowledge to my words, to my body, your ears to your knowledge, to your body, working together now. You have to allow me, you have to take care of me, whatever I'm doing. Becomes very interesting. Second round of this, let's say that we know our first 4 pairs, 8 stretches and spots. We have a wide variety to choose from. The second part is, after we've done uke calling it, I stand up here and I say what I'm going to do. The next level of this is I come up here and I put my hand up and you call it. You tell me what I'm going to do. Now you can call an Ikkyo family stretch, but you can't call a Kodagaishi family stretch if I'm here. So immediately the connection building exercise takes us to the next level of Aikido, because uke always has a first choice. You can't tell uke, attack me with your hand down here, or attack you here, or strike me or grab me. They've got that first choice. So if they come at you like this, you're already kind of getting that, building that model in your head of what this can mean. Do you see what I mean?
Yes.
Okay, so this time when I come up here and do this, or this, he has to take into consideration what I'm starting with. before he tells me what spot he wants, what stretch he wants me to do. Everybody with me so far? Okay, so then that's the next level. The level after that is even more interesting because this time when you put your hand up, I start, now you know 2 stretches so far, Ikkyo Omote and Ikkyo Ura. This time I'm going to call it as nage, non-verbally. Okay, I got to know what I'm thinking, but he won't know what he hears. He's not going to hear anything from me. But when he sees me do this, he already knows it's Ikkyo Omote. I have to communicate through my movement now. I have to be totally communicating with him. Because if you put your hand up and I'm in my own world and I go, let's see, what am I going to do? Maybe I'll start with Ikkyo Omote. And wait. No, I haven't said anything. I'm just thinking out loud here. And then I go like this. You're not with me. So I have to communicate to you when you put your hand up what I want you to do. You see what I mean? So then we start to realize where we're going with Aikido and that we're having a moment, you know, and he's going to punch forward. I have a couple of options now. If I move like this, he's going to punch into my center. And then I'm going to move like that. But if I move like this, he's going to just want to make sure the situation stays safe. And so when he puts his hand up to attack me and there's some kids over on that side, you know, I want him to come over here to work this out, not run over the children. You see what I mean? So we have options now. But it all starts coming from me taking care of him. Whatever you stretch, do any attack you want. Okay, so here's that stretch that he did. Watch what happened. Here's the elongation turning into compression. You see that? See the components there, the elongation and the turning over? And that's what you did. See what I mean? So anything you look at, if you look at any technique you want, you will see how these components work into the attack. And then the reason people do it is because they don't get any resistance. Now if you do Ikkyo Omote and you feel that, what are you going to do? You're going to keep on turning around? No, you're going to punch me in the gut with the other hand, aren't you? Because this resistance says, no, you can't connect to me, and you say, baloney. Okay? If I'm not there, he keeps coming. Remember? That's like not having any wall there. Right? So I have to support you. I have to support you. You see, then he has this really nice experience of being supported through his whole movement. Okay? So when the beginners get accustomed to these certain very specific stretches and spots, we look at where the stretch can change. For instance, Ikkyo Omote and Ikkyo Ura are separated at the first movement. Ikkyo Omote 1, Ikkyo Ura 1. At 1, things can change at that place. At this place right here, I can either go this way or I can go this way. That's my variation. Which means that he can't make up his mind ahead of time what's going to happen. Because now, as me spotting you in your Olympics gymnastics competition, you may throw some stuff in I'm not ready for. So instead of being programmed to move in a specific way to take care of specific things, now I have to be geared toward taking care of you the whole time. Because at this point he can change to this or this. At this point he can change to this. Or at this point he can come back here and elbow me. You see what I mean? With his extension of ki, how this attack manifests in real life. So I cannot any longer put in my head, he's going to do this and he's going to do this without fail. Now I have to put into it that he's going to stretch. His stretch is going to put him on the ground, but how is that going to happen? And how can I be there supporting him without being in his way? Do you see what I mean? So if you want to explore these concepts further with beginners, that's the way I would recommend it. You don't have to take my stretches and spots. You can make your own up. All you have to do is know whatever technique you want to explore and look at what the ukemi is. Do you understand? Okay.